Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oof. As usual, just trying to get everything a little situated in the moment. Just kind of popping stuff on. Trying to be a little more prepared this time. Just a little. I'm not saying I'm super prepared, but just a little bit. To move around some things real quick. But yeah, I hope everything's going smooth on everyone else's end. I've got a couple things up on my ArtStation peeping, so that's already getting there. I've got my iPad already kind of set up, so I don't want to brag, but I'm pretty prepared. Just saying. But yeah, let's just pop on over, I guess. Let's chat it out. But yeah, so I'm just setting up a couple things real quick. I know. Oopsies, microphone had some issue there. Monday morning was a little more rough. If you recall, my art abilities Monday seemed lacking. I couldn't do anything. And so let's hope that changes for today. I'm going back to more basics. Just going to be doing some super basic female anatomy stuff. And maybe I'm going to look up a couple artists and have them up. I didn't do that yet, but I know there's one that comes to mind lately that has been doing a lot of like really like sexy, but still kind of cute because of his art style. Females, Philtomato. He's pretty solid. So let me see. Let me pull him up actually right now, just so I've got a maybe a point of reference to kind of peep at. Of course, it comes up with Twitter. I do not want Twitter. Thank you very much. That's funny. He is actually live right now. That's funny. But anyway, so Phil's on right now. So that's cool. I'm going to pull up just his Instagram though as a nice thing of a reference for how he stylizes the female anatomy. So it's we'll break stuff down. We'll break stuff down when I get to that point because I don't want to do that quite yet. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe we'll do a couple quick like draws, studies of what he does, how he handles some shapes, how he breaks down shapes. And I'll go from there maybe. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Learning on the fly as usual. But anyway, I have coffee today. And I hate to inform everyone that it's not the good stuff. Normally I have it's Pete's Major Dickinson. I always call it my Pete's Dick. But we're out. We have it on like a monthly, you know how you can do like subscribe and save and it comes every so often. It's always off by like a couple days. And so this is like a Target brand generic, like the Market Pantry French roast. It's not the same. It's not the same as good old Pete's Dick. It's like, I don't know, I love my coffee just like what it is. Dirt, right? It's dirt. So let it taste like dirt. So that's why I get like the really dark roast, generic flavors. This is this tastes like wet, like water with some dirt in it. Just give me this. Just give me the pure dirt. You know what I mean? Give me that dark stuff. You know you like a dark lipology. That dark dirt water. Everybody does. Right. Okay. So I've got a couple things popped up as usual. I wanted to just cruise through ArtStation and see, my top 5 that stood out. God. Yeah, I mean, with dairy, I'm sure the cream is both a joke and a fact, a sugary cream. Um, but okay, so let's pop it on and see what we got. So this one super caught my eye. I didn't realize what it was at first. And then because I was like, man, it looks like like one of the Hearthstone things, and it is. It's fan art for a Hearthstone card back, and it's like a little grill. Is that not the cutest idea? That's fantastic. Like, I don't know why my brain didn't even like when I looked at this, I was like, what the heck? Right? That's such a cute idea. I love that stuff where you're like, my brain wasn't even thinking that that's what this is, but it actually fits perfectly. Yeah, both style and food wise. Like I chomp that. Like I'm a sucker for my veggies. If you put that on a grill, game over. Not the mushroom because I'm not a mushroom guy, but yeah, I'm sold right away. The second you throw any shish kebab, I mean, even if I have to eat the mushroom, but like, ooh baby, good old shroomy. But speaking of colors and stuff like that, like breaking it down, it actually does. If we're looking at it from like an analytical, creative perspective, the shroom actually does a good job of because they do each piece is mirrored on the other end in reverse, but then that a nice dark to kind of balance out all these really bright colors. So even from like an art perspective, the mushroom is in a good placement, and I like that. What else do you do? Sophie and I don't know. It's a French name. Elme Elmekaja. Elmeika. 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 Don't know, but I like it. Ooh. Product placement. Stylized Popsy submachine gun. That's cute. When I did worked on the Rec League game, I had to make a one of the guns is like a junk. A lot of them were all like junk rifty kind of things. And the one gun had like a big blaster in the center, but it had like multiple pop cans like cut in half as like a top panel. I didn't even notice the Mentos, but they're Mintos. That's funny as like it looks almost like an extra like almost like a weird pressurized spring would be the thing. Yeah, that's funny, all the little touches that they have on there. Yeah, it seems like this person has got quite a few texture things, so that would make sense. A little apology that you would know that artist more probably because of that stuff, these materials. This looks cool. That's dope when they do this kind of stuff. Oh, that kind of material gets me going. Like there's something about material like that. Like that feels so wild to me when they're able to do stuff like this. Just fill a whole wall with stuff. And it's books, so I'm sure like I'm curious if it how repetitive it feels. Right, yeah, this has got to be bonkers. But I'm sure if you had like a whole wall of it, it wouldn't really be that bad. Or even just something that you could reuse plenty. Excuse me. This looks gross. Oh, these are ginger. I thought it was like little mealworms or something. But it's okay. It's just like a basket texture with ginger all over it. I don't think I ever would have thought that. I lied, they had ZBrush and paint. Oh. Yeah, that totally looks like worms. 1000%. Yeah, these are cool materials. I like them. A nice little house always looks good. The edges of the water are kind of cool, like since they've got the reflection on it that frames it. A little stronger than I'd like actually now that I'm looking at the reflection. It's pretty intense. Cute as heck still. Very cool, very cool. I appreciate they've got the no NFTs in their name. Yeah, for sure. That's what I thought. As soon as I like scrolled down and I saw the daytime one, I liked it more. I agree that the daytime actually is not too bad. The night just feels a little strong. Still very cute though. So since I wanted to do female anatomy today, I saw this and I thought that was fitting. And I assumed this was 2D, but like it's always like I don't know. That looks dope as hell. That looks pretty darn real to me. They've got my favorite. Go back to the beginning. Did error? Nope. Okay. I had that little trick I was taught last on Monday using period and comma. It does not work for little small embedded videos. But yeah, insanely rendered. Yeah, it looks pretty darn real to me. Ooh, yeah, from this step to this. From here, that lighting, that hard lighting they add, and they add more, it looks like a little bit more intensive cools in there, like in all these cracks and crevices. A lot of the AO, they added like a nice heavier purple, which really helped sell it. Not as if the whole thing didn't sell itself already, but yeah. Dang. Her foot looks muscular. The way this foot looks, it looks like it's got like a that literally looks like a jumbo shrimp. Like block off the rest of it. It's a jumbo shrimp, kind of. That weird. Don't ask where my brain goes. I don't even like shrimp. Okay, so they've been doing a lot of anatomical studies. Holy cow. They're doing the different anatomical studies that I wanted to do today. These are like extremely realistic and look fantastic. Like, holy cow. I want to do cartoons. Wayfinder stuff. Always a treat to see Wayfinder stuff. The opposite of crunchy. So soft. It's buttery. Gosh, yeah, Wayfinder is a masterpiece of all the visuals in this game. Just top notch. Oh my god, I didn't know what this. Oh, what the? Oh, I'm guessing those are normally straight. Like, those are okay. That's funny. I was like, what is this? They're like octopus. So they're just out for the model, but I'm pretty sure they probably in motion are gravity effects. I never even started it. So you're big step above me. I was intrigued by Eternal Strands, thinking of stylized games like this. Eternal Strands came out yesterday, and it actually is getting pretty good reception. That it seems like a game that they took. So, for those that don't know, let me look up Eternal. Again, I don't have access to my keyboard. Clearly don't mind my odd typing. Yeah, for rigging purposes, I seem to. But at first glance, it totally looked like just like an intense old, like, I don't want to say, but yeah. But yeah, this one was the one that was like showcased, I think, like Xbox's thing a while back. And it was very much, I was on the fence of like, oh, it could be either really cool or really lame. And it's by old devs. Like, so a lot of companies now, because they're getting so, there's just problems. And so a lot of them are breaking free and doing their own little studio. And this one is their first outing. This is, I can't remember what the studio they named it. It's like something Sun or something, I want to say. Yellow Brick. That's what it was, Yellow Brick Games. Yeah, it's getting solid reviews. So it looks like basically they take the idea and they run with the idea. And I like one of the guys I follow a lot. I know I reference a lot too. His name is, he goes by Skill Up. Um, and he put a perspective that like this harkens back to a time when games didn't try, right? Like RPGs didn't try and do 1,000 things, right? They tried to do something that was fun, right? That was it. And he's like, does it capture the fun? 100% yes. Like he was absolutely having a blast playing the game because you've got, what is it? It's fire, ice, and gravity are your magic pieces. And he showed like an example that was one of many that he said like the combat would be you'd be jumping around fighting Shadow of the Colossus style almost, right? Or Monster Hunter-esque where you're climbing the characters. But like you can freeze, right? So the one dragon went to go take off and he was on the dragon's back and he switched to his ice magic, went to the one wing and froze like the shoulder area of the dragon, and immediately the dragon plummeted to the ground because there was ice freezing the entire dragon's wing, which obviously then he can't fly and he falls to the ground and can keep fighting that way. But it feels very sandboxy, right? And that looks really cool. A big like sandbox vibe RPG. He's like the storytelling is kind of whack and all that kind of stuff. Like the RPG itself isn't that amazing, but the game is fun. And it's only like he said, like you could probably beat it in like 20 hours, which is by today's standards for an RPG really fast, but also like refreshing fast. There was a game called Kingdoms of Amalur. Stupid coffee sucks. Very similar energy where like they just made a fun game. Parts of it kind of sucked, but the game was fun, right? And you didn't have to play it. I wasn't playing The Witcher where I'm 50 hours in and I finally get like realize I'm 20% done, right? Like I can actually commit a chunk of time and feel like I did a thing then, and I appreciate that too. There's a time and place for extremely long games and concise storytelling. But yeah, it showed. I think he talked about that there is a demo for it, even if I recall. And I know this has been like a big Game Pass thing, so I don't know if. Okay, so it is on Steam. I figured it would be still. Yeah, as an adult gamer, I appreciate that, right? Because it's the idea is almost too daunting as we grow up. That like I don't. Yeah, the idea of 100 hours sounds cool, but also if you look at my backlog of games, that means I'm probably not going to beat it unless it's a Souls-like, and then I'll probably beat it 2 or 3 times as well. Oh, Epic Games Store has it too. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm still super torn on. I buy things on Epic and Steam. I don't know, like, there's no like good answer. I feel like at this point, I still wish I had rivals through Steam so I could use my Steam credit on the currency. But yeah, anyway, this game looks dope. I'm excited. I think I'm debating. So I've got a whole hullabaloo about Orcs Must Die that I'll rant on probably later. But I don't know. Maybe maybe this is instead of, because like in my head I was going to buy Orcs Must Die, but maybe I get this instead. I don't know. Or maybe I don't get anything and I say, screw it. We'll see. But I'm glad this is doing well, right? Moral of the story, new studio made by really strong ex-devs that made some cool old RPGs in the past. So very happy to see them succeed. And hopefully that means we get more of it, right? If this is their first foray into it and the fun was able to be captured, you assume then they should be able to do even more then, right? If they can, so the difference in the materials there looks so clean. That gold in there bleeding into the rock texture. That's hot. But yeah, no, hopefully then they can pump out something even more like brushed edges, right? It's not just the fun, but then they also can maybe, and they did Darksiders Genesis. Okay. And Hex Tech Mayhem for League. Cool. Lots of cool stuff. Do I follow them? I do now. Again, not from the United States. What a surprise. Us Americans don't know how to make good art. We're all dumb. This is cute. Nothing crazy, but just cute. I like it. I was like a good Aztec character just because I love teal. I love that color, and I feel like usually you balance a lot of the bronze with those teals in a lot of Aztec designs or Aztec inspired designs. That makes sense that yeah, you had already followed them. That's funny. I was like, that looks like a weird Ratchet, and the person named it Crank. Concept art rendered inspired by Ratchet and Clank. That makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like that. It's very weird. It's like, we have Ratchet at home. And it's like, no, we don't. That's weird. Yeah, no, these aren't like blowing my brain, but these are all solid pieces for sure. Not bad, not bad. Oh, what was this? Oh, this was Joey Vasquez. I followed this person already. They do cool comics and stuff like that. Lopology, I'm sure you know of this artist as well then. But it looks like they did some exploration for What If, the new season. This looks dope that it's clearly, oh, this is Mega Hulk. I thought this was Abomination, actually. I've not watched any of the What Ifs. This screams Abomination to me. Yeah, Joey's work is amazing. But I love that this is clearly like Godzilla inspired, but it also reminds me then, what is that? Ooh. What is that new poison type Pokemon? This guy. Whoever this one is. It totally I don't know why the vibes I pulled from this, because they're not always gold. They change, he has different colors and stuff like that. The electric poison guy. Yeah, this one. I don't know why my brain thought of him. I wish the name popped up, but I don't feel like going further and further. Oh my gosh, now it opened up Toxtricity. That's what it was. I knew it. I did know it. Okay, that was cool. I'm already following Joey, but I'm sure we can take a quick peek. Did you do other What If concept stuff? Yeah. This is why the What If series doesn't super, I don't know, intrigue me. I'm not a huge fan of the style of the show in many ways. But I will say this looks dope as hell. Samurai Ghost Rider. All right, I can mess with that. The idea alone is pretty cool. I like to like looking at this, the there's so much flames on here, but if we notice, the brightest flames occur on both the sword and then the tail. It looks like that's like the biggest, they have the biggest bright areas. That's cool. That helps draw the attention, even though there's fire everywhere. Yeah, that's the general consensus I've seen when people have watched it. That's like, yeah, it's not bad. Like, it's okay. A bunch of cool comic stuff, as like I said. Somebody published something real quick. I forgot that it alerts you right away when things happen. Shailene Colbert posted some, dang, a ton of hair stuff. When you're doing character customization and stuff, it's wild how many pieces you make of things. Like in the Olympics game I worked on, there was like 20 different hairstyles for each male or female. And then, oh, meeting time. Have a good one. But yeah, how much you have to pump out for the customization stuff is wild. Then in the Rec League game we did, that one had, whoa, talk about customization. The whole game was customizing. That was like literally the point of the game. It was like metabots, like you were building your own robots. And it was a lot of customization pieces you had to do. That is for sure. Every piece could be put onto another piece, and you had to. So when we were modeling stuff, we had to make sure everything worked with each other. So we had like, I think we ended with like 600 pieces. Like it was a lot of pieces, and each piece had to work with each other. So like the chest pieces all had to be interchangeable. The shoulder pads all had to be interchangeable. The arms all had to be interchangeable. The weapon, like everything. It was definitely an interesting task. But I liked it. It was one that like when you got it working right, then that was pretty cool. The idea of just like swapping these mech parts and seamlessly, right? But okay, so I went to this page strictly because I saw they did Orcs Must Die. Now, for those of you, I was going to stream Orcs Must Die yesterday, Deathcrab. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do my gaming in the afternoon. Did not end up playing it. I was stoked for it. And so here's my problem. I had said I didn't want to look into games anymore as much like that because I miss the days when we would see a game at Toys R Us, see a game in our magazines, see a game wherever, right? And we would just get excited to play the game, right? Like that was it. Like we were just excited to play the game. We didn't need anything other than that. It was just fun playing the game. And I just didn't want to do more than that with this game. I just wanted to be like, cool, it's going to come out. I liked 1, 2, and 3. I didn't like there was like a weird middle one that they did. But like, cool, this one is going to be great. I don't want to read too much about it. I don't want to look into it too much. It's just going to be fun. And then immediately I went to download it, and the Steam reviews at the time of launch had like 150, and it was overwhelmingly negative. Like just terrible reviews. People were like, why was this not early access? Why did they change this? Why did they change that? And I don't know, they just changed a lot of things. And it looked unpolished then in the gameplay itself. So I'm still torn if I want to buy it and play it. I don't know. I'm still debating. But I wanted to at least see some of the art because I knew they had new creatures. So this looks like a new design. This one looks really cool. One of the new designs here too. But yeah, the game itself. So I equated it when I was telling my girlfriend the other night. When there was a restaurant we used to always go to. It was called Quigley's, a little Irish place, right? And they had a couscous chicken wrap. Absolutely fantastic. And that was the reason we went to that restaurant, right? It was really good. And it was the couscous that made it feel different, right? It was a chicken couscous wrap. It had like the blackened chicken. It had, I don't even remember what kind of cheese. It had some other stuff in there, but it was great. And that was our favorite thing from there. Do I like other wraps? Yes. Do I eat pretty much just chicken? Yeah. But did we go there for the fact that it had couscous, basically, that wrap in particular? Well, that's kind of Orcs Must Die. I went to Orcs Must Die because I liked making these kill mazes, right? Like you could use unlimited barricades, unlimited, so long as you had the currency, to do it. But like there was no limit to how many barricades you could place. And they were more cohesive maps. And I'm a very structured person. And so I loved setting up these like intricate designs and pathways with all these traps and all these things. But they've gotten rid of that. They're giant maps now. They have way too much space. They are no longer allowing you to like make like kill rooms and do these different things and be really clean and organized. And there's a limit on barricades. So you can't even make these paths. And so with those changes, in my mind, it's hard because in my mind, it's like, okay, well, that can still be an okay game, I'm sure, right? It can still be a good game. But it's not the game I came for, right? It's not that wrap that I wanted to eat. I wanted the chicken couscous wrap. Did they give us a new wrap? Yes. Does that mean I like it as much? No, I came for that damn wrap. because they got rid of that couscous. They said no longer are we making the chef doesn't want couscous anymore. And it's been that way for years, and then out of nowhere nothing. But yeah, so that's the same idea, I feel like, in that like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's just not the reason I wanted the thing, right? And so that's why I'm torn if I want to get it or not, because yes, it can be good, I'm sure, in its own right. Like I'm sure I could find joy in it, but if that's the reason you went to it, is it worth getting then? I don't know. That's the question I was asking myself yesterday, and now today as I'm discussing it. I have no idea. And really there's no right answer, but okay, well, I'm getting a little set up now because we've been peeping at stuff for a while. I do like this guy's stuff, for the record, by the way. These designs are cool. This person makes some decent stuff, it looks like. Who are they? They are an art director. I clicked follow already. They're the art director and environment concept artist at freelance. I was like, that Ready at Dawn didn't make it. But okay. Cool stuff. So today's studies, I am going to look at Phil's work, and I'm going to do some basic female anatomy work, because in drawing my last time, I struggled. I struggled hard, right? I was not doing well. I couldn't make it look right. And my problem is I don't know how to stylize female anatomy that great, right? I struggle with it because I want to do everything realistic and beefy and strong and all these kind of things. And this style is not one that I do. So I wanted to quickly take a peek at Phil's work here, and maybe, so he's got a whole course right now. I'm sure that would actually be a course worth taking, honestly. I'm curious what his what the schedule is, how these things, when it will open again. So it's too late now, but I appreciate this silliness. But yeah, like, so he did a malice too. And how did he break down the malice? Like, if we look, the only hard edge that exists are the outfits. Right? Her body doesn't have a single hard edge. Other than the fingertips too, obviously. But like, the fingertips are part of the outfit. So that's wild that like my brain wants to make creases, make edges, do all these things, but right away I think that's one of the selling points, is that he makes them all soft, right? Let's see how many hard edges we can even see. Not a hard edge in sight for the body shape, right? Not a single hard edge. Oh, it's supposed to be Samus. That's cute with the little Metroid on her butt. Not a single hard edge in sight. This is a little risque of Squirrel Girl. Not really a hard edge in sight. Again, the outfits have some hard edges, but I mean, nothing's, that's funny. So here he uses a hard edge basically right at the hips to kind of convey that. This is Philtomato. He just does cool stuff. I think he did a long while ago. I think he's one of the ones that did the Velma with the tattoos. So if you remember that Velma with like a bunch of tattoos, that was like him, I think, from way back, and that's kind of what gained a lot of popularity. But yeah, he just does like he rocks the female anatomy really well, and he's been doing a lot of these kind of like 80s 90s nostalgia kick pieces, like where like all of his characters are just from that, which is pretty fun too. Right, that Samus one is adorable and really clean. The little bite, that'll be one we'll do. We'll do a quick study of that too. Does it open in tabs the way? Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, I want to just understand better the way he does stuff. And again, one of the things is just, my problem is simplifying things. This is a cute idea too. That I want to add so many details. But really what sells all these shapes are just, they're smooth, right? There's nothing extra there. It's just basic shapes. Like, and even like to me anatomically, I'm like, this isn't right. Like this shoulder doesn't make sense how long it is compared, like the neck to the clavicle to the breast. This throws me off, but it still looks right. And I think that's something that I struggle with, is that like my brain goes, yeah, but anatomy. And it's about breaking the anatomy. But I struggle. I'm too rule followy when it comes to art sometimes. And so again, her leg is just basically like 2 S curves. That's it. Smooth, smooth. That's all. Her arm doesn't even have any definition, but you know exactly what's happening. Hello, Mew Birdie? Mew Birdie Starmobile. That's a mouthful. I like it. Mew. Mew is simpler. 151st Pokemon. All just super soft shapes here. So I think that's the big takeaway I need to focus on. That sounds very spammy, my friend. Oopsies. Anyway, yeah. So I think that's the big takeaway is, yeah, that's spammy lammy. I always forget how to deal with spam on Twitch though. There's ways like you can set up like auto things, but I don't have that yet. I'm too little. I'm too little. There is a way though. I just need to remember it. Okay. I'll Google that off stream then. So we don't see whatever this is, and that'll be the proof. Unless it's gonna be super creepy. What are we gonna look at? Who is Kathy Chan anyway? I don't even know who that is. Is that a person? Kathy Chan is a singer. No. Kathy Chan has a. If this is Kathy Chan, this is not spam. Then this is just a random. Yeah, I don't know. Kathy Chan. It shows up. Kathy Chan is just like this. I read it as Chan, but it's Kathy Chan. I'm guessing. Like, you know what I mean, like dash Chan. I don't know. I usually don't Google anything with bikini in the name, though. That's for sure. So I won't Google that. I don't want my CIA agent getting angry with me. But yeah, soft shapes. That's where all I was getting at is everything is soft, and I need to learn to simplify and soften shapes. So that is going to be the takeaway for today. I don't want to draw anything in particular. I just want to break stuff down and try and soften things. So let's take, we had the one. Twitch is hard because I've had a handful of spam things and it always throws me off. Two. The way I've got this set up, I've got, like I said, it's super awkward to use the computer once I throw the iPad in place. Because the arm is literally just bashing into my hand right now. Every time I'm using the scroll wheel, I'm like breaking. Oh gosh, that some of the stuff he does. I mean, they are hornbally in a way, but like that's also cute, like in a weird way. I don't really want to focus on super nude though right now of that. Yeah, his playful nature of these is super fun to look at. I love that his through line is usually like Samurai Jack and Johnny Bravo in so many of these instances, and just very awkward. Oh, so good. So good. So if we look at now as we're getting older, like he definitely gets better. Like this Tara looks okay, right? She looks good, but you can tell he's leaned into. So like this shape of his now, I could always use uh the pinup practice. But like if we're looking at this, like I feel like he's leaned into a little bit more how he simplifies shapes even. Because this is how long ago? 49 weeks ago. And I feel like he's even since then, like I feel like he would have made this shape different based on how he's been doing stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to see. I feel like things would have changed. Man, there's a lot of butts. There are butts everywhere. Oh gosh, some of these I forgot how some of them are pretty inappropriate too though. Oh, Phil. Probably should have maybe looked through these first, but it's fine. So here's a few ideas just to kind of have quick pieces just to sketch in. But first let me finish this disgusting coffee. Ugh. Oh, I agree, it's beautiful, but also it's YouTube streaming too. So it gets on YouTube and YouTube doesn't necessarily like having boobies the same when it gets uploaded. Oh man, yeah, this coffee is not good. Yeah, you missed it, Arafina. Earlier, I was just saying my coffee sucks right now because the coffee we get comes like every month or whatever with Amazon, the Pete's coffee that I drink, and it wasn't here, wasn't here yet. It'll be here Friday, and so I've got 2 days of drinking like the leftover garbage. Okay, so this was where, right? It's rough. I don't like it, man, but you know. It's just coffee. It's fine. And then I've also not been taking pre-workout now. I've been trying to like wean myself off of pre-workout, which that's a whole other conversation to talk about the gym. That was quite a day yesterday, but I've gabbed enough. It's already probably like 11:15. Yep, 11:14. So this is where I left off the other day. I had messed with her a little bit off stream yesterday, and I still look at this and I don't like it. Like there's too much. I don't know. I just don't like it. But so this is what we were doing that inspired me to decide to look at female anatomy a little better because I don't know how to draw giant boobs and butts. Like I just don't. My brain doesn't. It's like it does not compute. So I wonder if we just keep up on this file. Or let's just make a new one. That's fine. Let's open up a new image entirely. Let's make it bigger than 2. Let's do an 11 by 17. I think 11 by 17, my old iPad like maxes at like 50 layers or something ridiculous. 26 layers. That's all I can do when I do 11 by 17. Yikes. Not that it matters for this instance, but oh, Procreate and oh, old iPad. I've been wanting to transition to do Clip Studio, but the beautiful thing about Clip Studio, and by beautiful, I don't even have it. Where is it? Is you got to pay for it. Like, you got to pay for it double. I own Clip Studio on my computer. But when I go to Clip Studio on here, Clip Studio iPad is different than Clip Studio computer. And that bothers me. See, $5 a month, or it's not $28.90 a year, for the record. I don't remember what that's one of those ones where it's like, that's a lie. It's really not that. But either way, I need to transition to that because it is better. But I also don't want to because I'm trying to save money. So, what an internal dilemma, eh? Anyway, if I'm just going to be drawn now, let's throw on our usual, just some lo-fi stuff. So normally I just use my big old sketchy brush. Yep. I was looking at maybe making a new sketch brush for like a sketch liner because I don't like my liner brush that I've been using too much. I tried to tweak it a little bit. Maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. I keep changing things. Anyway. So again, if we break down, who is this supposed to? Oh, it's Ranma. Okay. He looks familiar. It looked like Misty at first. So if we're just being really loose, right? This is going to be a difficult practice for me, but just super loose. So we're playing with these curves. So I'm not trying to replicate this exactly, but I'm just trying to kind of get her energy and like play with the idea of really soft shapes. So really soft shapes, everything's a curve. Everything. Nothing. I'm not allowed to do a hard edge on the human. That's my thing right now. Unless it's like maybe elbow or like groin or like specific spots, but really trying to just push even his poses right now and just loosen up my brain because sometimes our brains are so locked into how we do things that until you break it, you're just stuck. And that's, I feel like, where I am at right now when it comes to simplifying these female shapes. So big old curve. Technically, you can look at this as an extension of this curve, right? This leg. Or it's the idea that this curve goes to this leg. So you can kind of play with it both ways. And it's still following the same overall path. And as usual, like I know most design dictates, one and the other, right? A push and a pull, a flat and a curve. And so that's kind of what he does with his curves, where it's like the big resounding curves, and then usually something a little more straight to balance. Even like her arm up here, we've got a relatively big curve on the forearm here. Excuse me, but then a pretty straight piece beyond that. Ooh, I almost did. I'm doing a hard edge. That's not in the rules. It's not in the rules, man. I'm not allowed to. Again, not trying to do this exactly, just trying to feel the energy that he conveys. I'm trying not to like erase. I'm trying not to do anything like that. Just be in the curves and feel all of it. He's like, here's where I struggle already. My layout didn't account for big enough of breasts. Like, I just don't, anatomically, my brain's not thinking of massive. What was the phrase from Superstore the other day that I referenced? Bonkers for honkers. My brain just doesn't click being too bonkers for the honkers. So this curve needs to be bigger now then, since I need more chest room. It's too big. I lied. I'm going to do a little erasing, but nothing too crazy. I'll make my eraser really big, and that's my like caveat. I can do like chunks, but I can't do like any fine detail. So usually with these, the breasts kind of line up, I know, with like the neck. So if we pull from the neck that we see, because that's kind of yabos. Yeah, oh, I forgot about that. That's the name, and that that's become a staple now for us on Halloween. With both, we'll just put on Hocus Pocus and Hocus Pocus 2? Is that just what the sequel was called? I don't remember if it had like a fun subtitle or not. But we just put on Hocus Pocus now in the background. That's our Halloween tradition. We put on Hocus Pocus as trick-or-treaters come, and we either open and build a new Lego set, or we play a board game. And then Hocus Pocus leads into Hocus Pocus 2. And then once we're cleaning up, we put on Halloween Town. Yeah. A beautiful era of Disney. Even the second one was fun. Like, I think people, obviously there's room to complain about things, but it's a cute movie, like based off of an old one like that. Like, it doesn't need to be more than that. It was just cute and fun. Okay, so here's where I'm getting lost too. So I need to remember that from the chest, the ribs still are going down, and that's an extra curve that I need to like hammer in to accentuate as well. It's the curve that exists to shape that hourglass that I think that's one that I always kind of miss out on too, because realistically the hourglass figure, again, I go from a very anatomical perspective, isn't like isn't quite the same as what we see here, right? The hourglass figure is extremely not common to that extent. And so when you're studying anatomy, it's usually not that extreme. But again, trying to learn to push them. Push it to the limit. Again, the focus isn't on any sort of face here, so I don't know if we're even going to draw a face, or if we're just going to be like, yep, that's the shape. That's good enough. As I say, and then I start drawing little bits, but like just enough to allude, right? A little bit of a nose, a little bit of a mouth. We get the energy. But I do like the way he simplifies faces too, I suppose, if we're stopping for a moment to look. It's not like he does anything super unique here. Like, this is a pretty normalized way of stylizing a head, but it looks clean. I'm always a sucker. I do it in my own work too. I like big ears. I don't know why. I always like drawing big ears. There's something satisfying about those curves. Just being like, bloop, bloop, big ear. Well, we don't even have room if we wanted to do more, so I guess we can't. Again, I'll just do as rough as to get the idea across. Boop, boop. Cool. So there she is. Good old Ranma. Okay, so not a hard edge in sight, right, for the body. So still, since I redid that, I needed to just erase this. Honestly, this is too much. But then again, really pushing the hip curve too. The hip curve coming out, but then also the hip curve that like leads into the leg is also something I feel like I've seen him really, really push. So this curve is what I mean, like this guy right there. Yeah, even here, I feel like one of my, so I guess part of the thing too is analyzing like what you do wrong. Like, what does my brain always do wrong? And I think right here, I realize I don't give enough space always, it seems, for the hips. I'm sorry, for like the waist, right? So this waist still doesn't have a lot of breathing room compared to what it probably should. So again, I'm not even going to fix that right now because it's not important. What's important is acknowledging what I don't do right. And that is one of the things, is keep in mind the hips and the waist ratio. So I will definitely not change that now, but again, use that as a mental note of one of my weaknesses. Because like, if you do stuff well and you know how they work, like, yes, you still need to study it and practice it. Otherwise, you'll get crappy with it still. But like, the big thing for me is figuring out what you do not well, right? In art, in life, with people, with friends, with relationships, in video games. You know what I mean? Like it's what you do great is cool, right? But also what do you not do well and how can you do better not doing well, you know? So here is a prime example, obviously, of female anatomy, but also what with it do I do poorly? Or even I've been playing Marvel Rivals that I talk about way too much. And like, so if I'm playing Rivals, why do I lose? What am I not doing right in my role, right? So it's like, okay, my weakness I found as a tank is when to push and when to pull back, right? So how do I take space or how do I not take space? And so that's kind of like, okay, well then when I play, I focus on that, right? I focus on the part that I know I'm not good at to make sure I get better at it. Which Marvel Rivals is a whole other beast. I haven't had time as much to play on my own. And when I play on my own is when I do ranked. And so playing ranked though feels like it takes a lifetime to rank up even when you're winning. So then when you lose, then you're really taking 10 lifetimes. Okay, so that's a good enough of a shape for her, right? We get the idea, not exact, but so again, the big focus here, all of these big old curves. Big old curves. Whereas if we look at like when I was doing I was doing too many edges, right? Too many hard points. She just started looking too blocky. Whereas technically Malice, she was a lot of soft pieces, which worked well, I think. Excuse me. Come on, Procreate. Let me shrink you down a little bit. We'll just do it all on the same page. We'll just keep shrinking stuff. I'm maybe going to make layers then, since apparently my 11 by 17 dimensions don't allow for me to make a lot. So this one's kind of, I don't want to use the word boring, but it's a little more simple, but it's also a good way to kind of peep at this. So I feel like normally I always start with a head, right? But I wonder if in an instance like this is when I learn to maybe try and start with this, like the curve and push the chest first. I wonder if that'll help. So let's try that. So we'll draw the curve of the body, which is essentially just straight down, right? Like that. And then a little bit to balance out the leg. So instead of doing the head, what if from this outer curve, we block in the chest and then go into the neck? See, I probably won't do this ever again. This feels weird. I don't like it. My brain says, no, you start with the head first, you idiot. Even her head doesn't have like a hard edge. Do you see that? It's just one big old circle that kind of dips in for the nose, and that's about it. So let's really try and like just play with these curves again, not really stopping for fine detail, just curves on curves on curves. Her back goes again, that hourglass curve is always super accentuated with his stuff. And right here's not even really a curve, it's just a straight line. And he does an interesting job too of they're chunky, right? I think that's something too, right? We've talked about on stream that nothing is big and nothing is small if they're all big or small. And so I think that kind of helps sell. So if we look at his stuff, a lot of their arms are relatively well defined. Even in like right here we see, can we go back? Let me go back. I know we can't see the screen the same as I can necessarily, but like even like this is a big arm. Like not like a Twiggy arm. Do you know what I mean? Or this Velma. Let me move it so you can see. Like that Velma That's a strong arm, right? She's beefy character. So he actually does still convey strength in a lot of his characters. And I think he gets that across by making the hierarchy, I suppose, of shapes go from like waist is thinnest, arms are thicker, and then breasts are biggest. Or breast and hips, right? So I think that's an interesting way that he does it, that like because he makes the arms thicker, that helps the waist look smaller, right? Not always the case, but I mean in this instance that's a good gauge. Did I lose the that picture now? I did. Oh no, I'm literally right here. So again, something to keep in mind, I suppose, is that idea of playing with the other parts of the body to make others different in scale. So again, this leg is a big old curve, let's just say. We're not even looking at the kneecap then. We're just going to kind of create more of an S curve with both of these. So I'm trying to oversimplify even what he's done. I actually don't know if I've paid attention to how he draws feet much, or if he even draws feet much. I feel like usually the focus is not lower like that, but not that it matters how an individual draws a foot per se, but just if I'm trying to learn the way, you know, study his style, how would he handle feet more particularly? Because these shoes, he does the big toe, it looks like on this, where they've got the like that kind of thing. But again, it could just be the shoe that he's giving her. I don't know why I even zoomed in and cared about the feet. No one cares about the feet. Blah 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 blah. But anyway. Do I mess with the proportions? Did I screw it up? What did I do wrong? So my first instinct when I did this was to make sure that this was long enough to accommodate the rest. And I think it is, right? It seems like it. Let's break down real quick how he does this face, because I kind of like that. He literally just does it where, so this part then comes out, right? So he does the pop of the nose. The nose is the part that bridges the mouth open there. And then he just has like a little, again, just an illusion of a line for a mouth. That's it. There's nothing more than that. He just has that little hook. And then he has the chin come in, which is, makes sense. The chin comes in, but then rounds back out. Again, bear with me. This is just a super quick look at it, but like just trying to get the idea. And then you already know, big ol' ear. Bam! All the better to hear you with, my dear. Okay, so now she's got Chun-Li buns, so they know, everybody knows. That face looks weird. It's definitely not proportioned the way it should be. But again, that's not the focus. So let's look at it again, and let's slap on like a thick brush then here. Just like a thick sketch. Oh gosh, that's a little too thick. And just kind of play with the curves then and see exactly what I did. So this neck goes down into the arm, right? There's not even a shoulder, right? There kind of is on his. So maybe we'll do, how did he handle the shoulder? He just kind of, the shoulder's up here more so. So the shoulder comes in from up top, it cuts in and then comes out for the tricep weight kind of, and then back in. Simple line. Again, this is literally just a straight line he did. Nothing too extreme. We'll just, again, simplify this little space for the hand that she has pressed against her hip. A single curve, right? Don't get too crazy. Don't make a weird shape. It's a single curve for that back. Butt comes out pretty far because her hip is sticking out like that. So then it's butt into this long, long hamstring curve. We'll make it even longer. Right? Even longer, this leg. This brush is so thick, I made an accidental little line there on the butt. It looked funny. I'm glad you come back with yabos, Lopology. You know what's up. So another curve for the breast, and then a big curve for the torso that just kind of plays down. She is all one. This whole thing, imagine, is one big tube. And then a little bit of a curve here, though, I like. But he doesn't do that, so I normally like to do this, right? I curve like a piece from like the hip into the quad. I always like that look, but what he does is kind of just straight up simplifies it even more than that. It's just one piece. Just one. Keep it simple, stupid. Same thing here. I normally like to do like a little bit of a shape like that. Like I was always add in that extra little curve. But that is not the assignment today. The assignment is focus on even more basic shapes. So we made the legs a little longer than I originally sketched out, like I said, because again, one of my things is focusing on those proportions then. So I feel like I always end up making them a little, not stumpy, but a little more stocky shape. Their hips to their legs and stuff like that. So making sure I'm keeping the legs nice and long, which is, again, when you're stylizing the female anatomy, that's usually something that goes a long way. Ba-dum-tsh. I don't feel like drawing feet right now because that, again, is not the assignment. So a foot. Simplified. Beautiful, gorgeous feet. And again, even there, I added more. I even put an ankle in because I'm an idiot and I just have that problem. You wouldn't draw an ankle if you're simplifying Britton. It would just go from Achilles right into the heel. No ankle. Same with the shin. The shin shouldn't have anything like that. Just focus on these simple curves. Simple curves. So her neck is pretty straight, actually. So I was going to push that curve, but he does not. So I'll just keep a straight up neck. for the good old Chun-Li big old bang. And let's make her, let's shrink her back down to the other side. Again, I'm not super sold on this one. Again, doesn't really matter. We're just throwing the shapes out there. But again, the focus here was like thicker arm. Oh my gosh, that brush still. Thicker arms, right? Thicker arms to sell thinner waist. And simplifying these curves that I always want to overdo. So if we simplify them, they're just a curve, not a giant S curve all around. Okay. What else do we got? Phil. We've got that one, and that's all we've got right now. So let's grab like one or two more. I'm going to do like one or two more of his before I pop into something else. I feel like that's actually good. I mean, it's straight up naked basically, so that kind of, you can definitely see the figure. We'll do those two then. Oh, where's my little stand? So again, since I go past my time now to 1:30, I've got my little chocolates I eat, especially now that I had that garbage coffee. I need something that tastes better in between here. I can't just have that coffee taste in my mouth. So my little Dove chocolates. It's been an hour, so I get one. Every hour I get one. What a treat. But it's like I brought 3 up and I ate one immediately. So I don't get one every hour because I'm a glutton. Okay. So when we look at this curve, right? I wish there was an easier way for me to like make her image have a little bit more oomph. Can you even save as users web? Yeah, it just saves web page. You can't really. I suppose I could like screen grab it, put it into Paint, and make it bigger. I feel like that's a lot of extra steps though, needlessly. I wish you could just zoom here in the snipping tool. That would actually, is there a way? There is a way. Was it Control Plus? Perfect. Okay. I didn't know you could do it that way. So I'll just snap it on the side. Cool. Now we can do that so it's actually on. Damn it. Whenever you change the size of the window, it changes. Oh, I have pure ref. But again, that's still a process of setting up, grabbing the image still. So I mean, the same idea is the same. It would just be an extra step at that point. So I lost my pen. Bro. Also, when did I change my camera over here? Oopsies. Where the hell did my pen go? How do you lose it? I found it. I know you were worried. It's because the stupid new sketchboard doesn't have big enough of a hole to put it in. It's supposed to have just like a little hole in it. The old one had a hole large enough that the whole thing kind of fell in, and at the thickest point it stopped. Whereas this new one, it like stops at the nib. So it's barely balancing. So the second you move it, the pencil falls out. So I don't like using the actual like built-in piece here, because the old one actually had a hole in the back of the board too, so it could go further in. Like there's not really a big enough of a hole before it actually like stuck out. So I can see why logistically they're like, hey, we don't want that sticking out. Oh, I did complain to them about the hole size, and they said, we get it. polling all of our people, this is the whole size everyone else likes. Like they legitimately, I know I complained about it before. I don't know if I ever talked about it. So I complained about it, the desk, right? The sketchboard. I sent them a whole email being like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Is it broken? Blah, blah, blah. To their credit, they actually got back to me with like the longest novel of a response, like a genuinely like good customer service response, which is not common, right? Like we usually don't get that. So basically, they told me I was wrong. They said, you don't know what you like. Everyone else said they like this. You're wrong. But in like a nice way. Then basically saying like the changes we made were all due to like customer feedback and blah, blah, blah. So the TLDR is I just didn't like the changes, but apparently these were changes that other people wanted. Right? It's a fair response. It's a good PR kind of response too of like, hey, other people wanted it. Like, show me the facts though. Show me the car facts. Like, let me see a list of these people. Who are these people? I'd like to talk to them because they're wrong. They're idiots. But also, I can't do that, so that's smart for them. Okay, so back to drawing this stuff with Phil. He's got this big old curve here. Like, if we're focusing on not hard edges, his curve here is like the arm swinging down to the hip, right? Like it is just 1-to-1, one piece here to one piece there. So really playing with that back. So again, I know last time I said, what if we try blocking in the chest first? No, I don't like that doesn't work for me. I need to block in the head. I just need to block in the head smaller. I feel like my problem is always I block in the head's a little too large for what it should be. So if this is the arm though, we'll put like maybe the head around here and then her body's going down, the curve of the arm coming up. I'm just getting quick gesture in right now. Like I said, I'm not trying to copy this one for one. I'm trying to just use the curve language he uses and try and learn how to think that way as well. Obviously, I don't need to block in the hair, but it helps. When you have at least the hair a little bit, it helps sell in your head the direction of the face then. Because you can see, like, oh, this is the back of the head, so clearly it's angled thusly. Okay. This is kind of jank looking, but again, just trying to get like a rough gesture of how the curve and the shape goes. So if we crank back to the other now, the thicker brush, let's look at the main curve. So if we establish where her head is, we can throw in. So he actually does do, because the arm is bending here, obviously you do need to do some sort of curves that have terminating points, that have some sort of edge, right? So he does have a little bit of that here to sell this complex shape. And then give quite a bit of negatives, a cool negative space here. I'm just blocking the hand in for the idea. But then he goes back to immediately being like, okay, cool. There was some like breaking of shapes, and now we go back to curves, right? So his arm comes in and essentially just keeps up this curve. And what he does a lot is he pulls in the shoulder. And I think that's a smart way of doing it there. He pulls in a little bit higher than normal for where the posterior deltoid is. Again, anatomically, that doesn't make sense to me. But visually, it looks good. So I trust it. So just that little bit in there. And this curve just continues down, right? It is a big old curve shape into the hip. Again, this looks weird because it's such a thick brush I'm using now, but it's just to illustrate more final. So he even breaks for the butt cheek right here. But like, I'm just going to, since we're just practicing these curves, I'm just keeping, what if this is just one big old curve still? I'm fine with that. And then her butt would be probably like around here, maybe the bottom. I don't know. I'll wait to put that in until I have the other landmarks in. So if the neck started there, it's about that wide, right? Now again, her arm is just a nice curve for the shoulder. And it's like his shoulders blend into the biceps then a lot of times. It's one or the other. His shoulders go into the biceps or the triceps, depending on the angle that the arm is moving and how we see it. So again, that's hard for me because the inner and anatomy guy wants to be like, no, we draw that elbow, we draw that tricep, we make those marks. Not today. And then the big ol' honkers for bonkers right there sticks out. That looks really low, right? I mean, that's technically kind of how he... I think this arm, that's what it is. This arm needs to be longer. A little bit. Again, like I said, one of my weaknesses is the waist. Like having enough space for it, and I think that's showing up here. So let's skip the breast actually right now and try and instead figure out where the other hip goes. So this other hip is, this is massive. Look how, do you see how far he stretches this? Just playing with that curve. Oh my gosh, my iPad's moving. Playing up that curve so strongly. Like those are huge hips. And I'm probably making them even bigger then. Okay, so it's kind of right where the butt would lie. So if the leg goes here, the cheek goes up, and then another. Sorry. You see, but that's my hard part is like, I can't, like even now, the proportions don't seem right to me. Like I did something that doesn't vibe with me with her chest. I don't know what it is that I'm just not tuned to drawing them. So I think this angle was part of the problem. It's his is angling up because we're moving back in space. So this point was going up a little. Like a little illusion of something on her back. So yeah, that boobie looks so big still, but whatever. And the arm, maybe we'll push. So that curve is huge, but I feel like we need a little bit more waist first before the hips, because it almost looked like her waist was sticking out that far too. Sure, good enough. And then her arm just continues this curve more or less. She's got her like blaster arm on, so I don't really need to draw a hand, but I could if I wanted. I don't want. Yeah, skip the yabos, not the G's. Apology. Get your terminology straight. You must not be Honkers for bonk. Ay, 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 goodness. Again, this is not quite a necessary step, but if I'm here, might as well make the hand look kind of done. Then even to like play up that curve a little bit, he's got this hair curving alongside it too, which is smart. Play up the curves in different ways then. He does the hair thing a lot where like it doesn't make sense, where it's just like the anime bang almost, where it's just like a weird little jut out like that. You know, no neck bangs, but you know, actual anime bangs. So again, with his faces, he does a lot of those where it's just the curve into the nose then, which is not like an uncommon thing. Like Glenn Keane does that a lot, and although you know a lot of artists just simplify the face like that, and it works. You perk up at anime. Anime neck bangs? What? Different meaning, different meaning. I do not need to be blocking in the close. I just kind of wanted to. Okay. So again, that is not exactly how he drew it in any way, shape, or form. Oh, anime never change. Yeah, true. Like that's the energy, and don't ever ever change. You're beautiful just the way you are. But yeah, I don't think they're going to change. But okay, so again, looking at what he drew versus what I drew, very, very different. And that's okay, because I at least have these curves. So again, if we focus again, reflecting on what the curves were, we really had that, oh gosh, this strong curve here, that is like a subtle curve, right? This big one for her arm all the way to her leg, down to her hip, from her hip to her leg, which definitely looks nice. And then he counters that with the contrapposto stuff we've talked about before, where it's like, and then he still adds a little bit of a crunch in this space by the hip movement. And as usual, we talked about too with counterposto, the up and down. So shoulders are this way, hips are this way. So makes sense, makes sense. Do we put an eye in just to, so it feels more? There, she's got a little bit of an eye. Now it's done. Face looks really small. iPad, don't do that. That was unnecessary, but now it's more proportioned. Okay, so shrink this one down. No, we don't need you here. Cool. What else do we have, Phil? This is a joke. It says, what if Metroid was a girl? What does that even mean? This is supposed to be a joke. I don't know. It's Samus. Okay. Okay, so we'll do what we did last time then. We'll screen grab this. Pop it over. Zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh. Make those yapos go boom, boom. My Philtomato girl. Legally distinct, right? That's fine. What? Oh my god, can you not do like a slight? Can I grab it? There we go. There. She's in frame. So this kind of has a similar energy of that last one with a strong curve. Like one being really, so her outer edge, right, is, oh, I'm still on that thick brush. Her outer edge has like this long, steady curve, right? From her lats to her waist to her hips to her thigh, right? So this is, I'm gonna have to shrink this down because I did it too large. And then the arm just kind of juts out here. And then it's got just a little bit of contrast to that shape. So then her hip kind of sticks out just a little. But again, trying to see how he plays with these curves. So this curve plays up to this one then, right? So the idea is this is created by the quad and the abductor, the hip abductor. Whereas this one's still the quad, but in a different way. So we're getting that nice movement. It's funny, I have my Ecorche models. Ecorche, they're like where it's like human anatomy, right? And then you've got like half of it is like the muscle underneath and stuff. And girlfriend pulled something at work yesterday and she was not, her shoulder was really bothering her. And which is not uncommon. She's got a pretty physical job. But so she was complaining and she said something about her lats. And I was like, girl, you know that's not your lat that you pulled then? Like, you know for a fact. She's like, well, isn't it kind of? And I was like, go grab the model. And so she went and grabbed the model. And it was almost like let me show you on the doll. Like, but I pointed out the muscle groups then and she's like, oh, that makes sense that it was actually that part of my back, not my lats. And I was like, yeah. But it was just funny, the idea of using my anatomy model to just show her where she pulled a muscle. So in this instance, I know we talked about he makes a lot of times the arm's pretty strong. This one, this character in general is very thin, right? She's a very thin character. She's got a pretty long waist, actually. More so than I'm probably even giving it credit. And then more normal human-sized breasts. Yabos, sorry, Arafina. That's an interesting way to see how he handles more simple curves rather than, the extreme ones he's been doing. So if we make that torso, he really stretches this torso, right? The arms don't start till way up high. So shoulder into the bicep is kind of what he does when they're bent. It looks like he simplifies with just the, that S shape kind of thing where it dips down. Obviously, he breaks the shoulder line a little. Follow that curve on the opposite end. I'll draw her cape later. Doesn't really matter. And then the standard shape. So like really none of these pieces are like breaking the bank, if you will, in terms of like design choices. These arms, these legs, there's nothing too crazy about them. It's just he really plays with the curves in a good way. And I think that's, like I said, what I just need to hone in on. Little half circle here too. Oop, that looks like I drew a nipple. I did not. I thought that was the eraser. I swear, I plead the nipple fifth. Oh, there's no line on his, but it's about there. The relatively big curve he has for the shoulder to simplify, because there's technically a lot of movement where the lat would be here and the trap, or I'm sorry, the trap would be. But so he simplifies that with just a relatively big curve for the shoulder. So this bicep, her forearm and her upper arm are again just one. Essentially, there's a little bit of movement, but it's more or less one big old curve. So for the tricep here, the tricep dips in to allow for the forearm to stick out then. So the tricep will go in, and the forearm, I was about to say foreskin. I don't even know what I was about to say. So again, these straights mixed with nice curves. So it's like a mountain, right? This kind of looks like a landscape thing. You could picture like little trees in the distance, right? Like this is a creek down here. We'll just zoom in. Look, it's a mountain. There's the sun up here. There's little trees in the distance. Maybe this creek goes up, right? Like that looks like a little mountain, but it's not. Boom. It's her arm. Psych. So he does then give a little bit of a curve here. I don't know. So I think what he's trying to accomplish there is this forearm. That's like the other curve of the forearm then. So he can straighten back out. So there's at least like a little hint of movement there to the forearm. So it's not just super straight, but just pretty subtle. And then the hand is whatever, just kind of. I'm assuming she's like pulling the cape taut, maybe. Yeah, we've just got little fingernails, right? We'll give her a little. So again, trying to even simplify my quick hand shape here, because normally I go too detailed, but like, I feel like that more than his hand even gives an idea of what's happening without needing to go too much into it. If anything, the thumb's a little fat. She does have, since we'll add outfit eventually, we'll just add these little brace or little gauntlet things right now. We haven't really looked much more at these curves of the leg. So again, we've got the curve going in for this part of the hip. That goes it goes even straighter, right? So it goes down. And then the curve of her quad kicks in. Whereas it's the opposite up here, it's super high. So maybe we accentuate this even more, because that's the whole point of today. Let's make that even bigger, a little bigger than what he even has, just for the sake of practice. So this sticks out even more and cuts in. And again, he doesn't even give her a kneecap. Do you see this here? It just an inner curve. That's it. Just whoop. There's her knee. Whereas I fiddled with for like a day trying to figure out how her knee would work. And it's like, yes, I do like doing more anatomical, tighter drawings, but these images are so visually appealing with just such simple little bits of information, right? That accentuated hip that I did is huge now, but it's fine. Again, we're learning together. Man, the stupid board. It's fine. It's fine. So again, like we said, usually if you're turned a little bit, this neckline does usually follow. Because like imagine if it's like a one piece kind of, right? Like it would look like that from the neck and it would cut in. So it makes sense that when you're drawing the neck into the breast, that they share a line. So she's got like a big vampire overbite going on, but she's still essentially, like I said, the big old circle. Just technically the way he does it, this is all the same curve. So even her face follows curves, like I said. So it will, oh, I forgot I have it set to massive eraser. Got out for the snout, the nose, right? And then even her mouth bit. Did that cute little smirk with the vampire tooth. But then like the under, is that underbite or overbite then? I don't even know. It's a bite, all right. So again, like I said, her head, like this curve follows this curve still, right? It's just one big movement. We do not have space to draw all of her hair, but that's okay for now. She has a big ear, but pointy. Neat. Her hair has like the 50s, like not quite a bob, but that energy. It looks cute. I like it. So just to quickly slap in clothes then, we'll give her the little gem. She's got her collar sticking out. Got like the little neck piece, whatever, I don't know. The collar cuts in that way. Simplified it so we don't even see the inner part of that collar, like the messy leather part. And then the cape just comes from there. So the cape follows the shape of the shoulder and then up the arm. And then the cape just, you know, again, this part doesn't really need to be anything, but just for my own edification, just to feel like I'm being closer. And then we need to readdress to her legs. We never finished that. So he kind of hides the forearm here with a little bit of the cape. So we'll do the same thing. That curve looks stupid. There we go. Even his use here of the negative space, right? He fits. We've talked about that before, like putting pieces in just so they look right. So like right here, yeah, maybe the piece would cut like that instead. But visually, we get more interest and intrigue if it curves. Just not exactly in the frame, but a little bit to balance out that negative space a little more cleanly. Got our little gauntlet. And what is our hand doing here? Nothing really, just kind of sticking out. So that's something I usually like to do too, that I've learned a long time ago, is like a pinky out or something like that, right? So a good way of looking at hands that he kind of does, I'm not really like analyzing his hands too much, but the idea is you've got 5 fingers. Doi, we know this. But also drawing 5 fingers sometimes isn't the pose. Sometimes 5 fingers is too much or not attractive or just looks kind of weird, right? And you don't want to overdo it. So what you can do a lot, this looks like garbage now as I'm talking about hands anyway, but like instead of doing 5 fingers, a lot of simplification of hands in animation and stuff, especially shorthand, is think of the hand actually as, obviously there's a thumb, doi, but it's actually one thing. Imagine it like these 2 fingers, your middle and your ring finger, are 1 finger though. So you only usually draw 3 fingers, but whatever they're doing, those 2 are usually together, generally, right? So like even here, we can see 1 finger, these 2 are doing the same thing, and then this one's sticking out, right? So they have different movement to it, but you simplify it. Because sometimes drawing 5 fingers, all kind of moving on their own independently, look ugly. Whereas simplifying the shape of the middle 2 just kind of makes for a better looking image. So I didn't give her an eye. She's got big old doe eyes, right? So the front curve as always, and then big eyebrow, little eyebrow, big as in like high. Oh my gosh, I told myself to use only a big eraser, but then it throws me off. When I forget, I have a massive eraser. But if I tap it, that's my way of cheating. I'm just tapping it. Best of both worlds. Okay, and then her legs, we just want to, there's not enough space again. Let's shrink her quite a bit. Now we can technically do the top of her hair since, just to make it look like she has a round shaped head. And he gave her like a little bit of that action going on. Cool, whatever. So the curve of the leg follows the same thing again. So we've got this guy down. No hard edges, like we said, not a single hard edge in sight on the human, on the actual female figure itself. Allude to the shoe here, bloop, bloop. And then keep that curve down. I do not feel like drawing more than that, so we'll just assume the legs kind of become one piece there, right? This spot, it looks like just one. They become one, right? There's no space in between. There's no hard edge. There's no negative space. We don't need to look there. We just kind of, whatever. Though she does have a tail. Do we draw the tail just for fun? Yes. Yes, we do. It's funny because I drew that arrow, but now her tail is like an arrow coming right next to where that was. Unrelated. Okay, so let's swap to the thick brush just to go over these lines and really solidify them in my head. But I didn't give her her little. Do you even call that a bikini? I don't even know what this would be then. It's just her. They're essentially like tassels, but with strap. So we'll put those in now. Since we're here, okay. So this curve, I think we can push a little bit more. And then he still has a little break for that hip, right? Do we see this right here? There's still a little hiccup. I don't want to make it super duper straight. So if we give that little bit of a curve, and then her bikini strap, whatever, continue the leg curve. This is super dark. Let me. Let's block the tail and just so it's out of the way since it is there. Okay, got a tail. And again, her leg just keeps that curve, keeps this curve in. These curves connect. And again, here's that hip that we pushed out a lot earlier, but looks a little big, but don't matter. This nice, you know, my beautiful drawing of a mountain I drew here for her arm last time. So now this space is, you can give her, I like, does he draw? He does even draw an armpit. I was like, I always have to draw an armpit line. So I'm glad he did too. Let's, for the sake of it looking like a gauntlet, let's block it in like that so it just looks better because I wanted to. And we established her forearm jumps out and the hand is whatever the heck we just blocked in for the hand. That's cool. So on his, I know you see that part of the cape. We are not going to because I didn't want to. And then towards the end here, the shoulder we establish is one curve into the other. Follow. Super simple. Super darn simple shape. We'll again do the same thing with the gauntlet just because we can. Where we'll shade it where there's like that fake little highlight in there so it looks like it's metal for the moment. Basic hand. Don't care. Was not the assignment. Everybody knows you just draw like a square or a circle or some sort of general shape like that, and you immediately go, oh, that's a gem or a ruby or a thing. That's a nice shine. This thick brush is kind of difficult when I'm drawing like smaller details like the eyelashes and stuff here, but it illustrates the point nonetheless. Okay. So these curves all worked out, made sense. She feels very like Hanna-Barbera-y. It feels very like 50s cartoon. In a good way, in a good way. Since everybody's darker, let's just look at this again and just kind of recap. So really good use of shoulder stuff here. Again, the neck goes right into the breast. Comes in here and out. So alluding to like this shape here that we've been talking about with the hip. And just the shoulder is just a curve, just a single round shape. Okay. Not quite needed, but now we at least have them all. Similar levels of darkness. Which we talk about a lot, the contrapposto. So like there's something we've picked up on what he's done before too, right? So a lot of his hips have these swings, right? So to accentuate this swing, that's why I wanted to erase this line actually real quick, because the hip comes up here. We establish boop, strong there. So that means I want the other one to happen a little lower, right? So there's still this movement, because I feel like that's something he does a lot. And I'm assuming it was in that first piece, but I didn't draw it because I wasn't paying attention to it, like looking out for it. But now I am. Okay. So I think I'm getting some good practice in here. I like what we've been doing so far. I don't even know what time it is right now. It's 12:30, so it's not super late, but we've only got about an hour. An hour left. What else do we want to do? Did we have another one of Phil's up? Did we have one more? We had one more. I don't know if I want to do this or just start drawing other things. Thank you, Orko. They are studies of Philtomato, an artist who does curves and shapes really well for simplifying female figures. And so that's what we've been looking at today, trying to learn and talk through what I think his designs are and how he's thinking. Because I think that's always an important thing, is trying to get in the head of why these decisions are being made or how they're doing them. And I think it's worked out. This bothers me here as I zoomed out. I don't need to change this, but you know, I'm a weirdo and I'm going to. The forearm felt really long. Should be even lower. But anyway. Yep, so just going through these. I don't know if I want to draw her or if I want to just start maybe drawing other female figures with his, like try and now do what he'd be doing, right? So I think I'll do that instead. So we're going to not look at Phil's work anymore. So we're going to close him out so I don't get overly influenced maybe by his stuff. I'll keep it up, but not like a particular drawing, right? Just slap it on the side here. So there's something on stream to look at. I know, no muscles. It's really, really hard, but it is interesting. So that's what I talked about earlier, is that even though there aren't muscles, he does a good job of like this shape here. He gives form to the arms, and in giving the arms a little more mass, it helps sell these curves then, right? So with a thicker arm, he's able to get away with the waists and hips being smaller. And so everything he does kind of guides the direction to like these pinch points. So if that means his shoulders are actually technically pretty round, pretty strong, even the thighs, like they're, curvy and big, but the accentuation is on where the muscle actually is, right? That is the quad there. And these are your abductors sticking out there. Like he still does a good job of showing strong shapes within it. Yes, very yabos heavy, but kind of has at least an illusion of muscle as well, which I would like to get better at myself. But it is 12:30, which means product placement, right? My last little Dove chocolate before lunch, which means I'm going to grab water too. I've got my water here. I'll swap it out with this coffee mug that had doo-doo coffee in it, but ooh, gross. Oh, I like how the one I paused on actually has like exposed butt cheeks of the mayor. Let's zoom up. There we go. Okay. Swapped out my water. Or coffee. Swapped out coffee for water. Anyway, so I want to look at now some other non-Philtomato ways of like drawing. So let me move, the mic is in the way. Hold on. Okay. So, I've got like my book of all my figures and all these kind of things. So I'm trying to see something that I could maybe do in something he would do, right? So let's see. Let's do something I would do then, right? Let's do a slight action pose, right? His aren't super actiony, but let's try it. And then see how I think. I'm not trying to draw in his style. I'm trying to draw in the vein of knowing how to simplify these shapes and play with these curves. So let's block in a pose and then really focus on where the curves lie on this one then, right? So we'll keep these all visible. It's fine. So let's do... So he focuses strongly on the body's curve itself. So let's pull it. So this is head. He's looking down. Slam it into a leg. So make a strong... Again, what I've learned is I don't know how to draw the torso the correct length, which that's the problem right there. So this character is going to be pushed out, leg down, leg back down. Almost like a power stance of sorts. Foot, foot. And then her shoulders are going to be like reared back, like she's about to fight. Because that's what I know. Comic booky combat vibes, right? So let's draw that. She is primed and ready. All right, we don't need all the detail because that's going to be counterintuitive to the point that we're trying to do. So if she is, her hair's flowing this way, right? Let's say action, right? And then the chest would be kind of like this, right? It would come down Let's get the legs blocked in a little bit so I know what to play with. Just make them long, right? I keep messing that up too, as I'm not making legs long enough with the female figure, or even like, I feel like legs for some reason I always end up making stumpy. Men, women, anthropomorphic thing, like it doesn't matter. Like I always for some reason err on like disproportioning those shapes. But so let's do the same thing with this foot. So this foot technically would be closer to us, right? Because that's the, oh gosh, the front. So push it out, play with that perspective, and then the calf would be up here. Or technically the calf is like curved here and then down, but the part that sticks out is the inner part, and then the foot. So she is very actiony, right? This is not an overly like sexualized pose. It is a very action pose, which is what I do. So what I struggle with most, I talked about it a little bit earlier too, is just making them feel both like soft and hard, right? Like there's obviously a middle ground to, you know, Phil's drawings of very soft, super curvy. But I think the biggest struggle I have when drawing the female figure is I put in too many hard edges. Like I am a very like analytical mind, and I know like I like to break down the shapes into more like squares and base components. But when I do that, it ends up getting too hard. And so what the focus has been today, which is kind of trying to go against what my brain always wants to do, is make things curved, right? So everything here is just curves. They're simplified curves. And that's my biggest struggle is, yes, I can draw the female form, but how do I draw the female form in a more simplified way? Because even right here, when I blocked this in, right? This block in, albeit, yes, this doesn't look bad. This looks kind of what I want it to look like, right? Like this is her in an actiony pose, right? This is fine. I feel like if you look at this, you know what you're looking at generally, right? You look at that, you're like, oh, she's ready to fight. But how do I simplify that? And I think that's the biggest problem with male, female, everything with drawing right now is how do I simplify? And that's what we've been doing all day today. Simplifying as much as we can. So if this is her overall shape that I dictated, right? Not necessarily the shape that she should end up with for our curvy nature of stuff. So her hair, I don't even know what her hairstyle is. It's just long and flowy. That's fine. She doesn't need a hairstyle. That's not our focus right now. How do I simplify these now, right? So I know how to block in normal anatomy, but where can I make these curves smoother? So I'm just gonna kind of draw over everything and look at the curves, right? I'm not trying to make a beautiful picture right now. I'm thinking, so Phil has a lot of like tries to have like one long curve in almost everything he does, right? These long curves, long curve, long single curve, long curve, right? I don't know if in this pose there is one per se, but if anything, I would say it's right here, right? This curve. So let's focus on that first, and then that'll be the crunch. So normally, though, I like to have the hips like bop, bop. I don't think I can do that in the way I just drew this figure. And I think that's, unless maybe, can we do this? Hold on, before I start. just completely distort the leg real quick just to, for what I want, right? So I like to have that balance. So he's had that balance too. So if that's what we're trying to do, my pose should reflect that at least a little, even though it's my kind of pose, right? This is my kind of action pose, but how do I incorporate his? So what he does is he'll have this, right? So the hip goes from here to here, and the shoulders are going from here to here. So at least there's a little bit of contrapposto to it. Not perfect, but again, that's what we got. So if we look at the big curves that he's got, so it would simplify this curve to be something like this, right? Don't overthink it. It's just a big single curve. Same with the ankle into, so normally here, right, I would want to draw the calf into the knee, like boop, boop, something, you know. Nope, we're going to curve it, right? So it's one curve that maybe we'll give, nope, that looks weird too. So how would we do this? The calf goes into the knee. How would we do this? I'm not sure. So how would we simplify? So if this hip pops up here, maybe it goes like this. Yeah. So if this part here is jutting out, we kind of want everything to be curves at an angle, right? Countering each other. So if this curve is like that, we kind of want the other curve to exist here. So we'll take that leg and put the bigger curve part right here then, right? So it feels like that's happening. So we're going to build that curve. Can we simplify the calf though? How do we do this? That look dumb? I don't know. It's hard though, because again, I want to draw the calf. But I'm not sure if, again, if we're trying to just see where the curves are, that's not where a curve is right now. If anything, we can maybe accentuate the calf's curve on the other end to make it feel like it is. Right? And we can still draw a line to allude to the knee maybe, but nothing on the outskirts of it, right? Nothing on the silhouette is going to be showcasing that it's a knee. I don't know what I just did with the foot there, but we'll just erase that because that looks hideous. Goodbye. And so if there's a big curve where he normally does the opposite then, so this side, like we have in the pose, is going to, let's look at what we've done before. To simplify the curve to something like that, right? Goes up and then down. And then do we draw the butt and then curve it in like that maybe? So the butt is a little visible. So we kind of break reality there because that's not quite how it would be, right? But, or again, if this is where it's sticking out, we kind of want this to be a little different. So the curves are countering each other. Whew. And then the knee is just a smooth curve in. That looks really stupid. But so if the knee, this is weird, man. It's hard trying to break the way your brain is thinking of a shape, right? How do I break the shape in an intelligent way and be okay with it not being right? So maybe we do give it, because I mean, this is a strong pose. So maybe we do still have to give little, but he doesn't do any hard edges. The whole point is we're trying not to do a hard edge. Much easier said than done. Then how do we do like a strong looking calf? Because I feel like this just wants to go in then, and that looks weird. So how can we allude to a little bit of a calf? I don't know. We'll come back to that then. Let's look at the shoulder. So the way we looked at like this shoulder, right? And this shoulder, it's okay just to, we can give a strong shoulder, right? Give a nice curve. But then we'll balance it. So this will curve one way and this arm will curve a little bit the other way, right? So let's give it, again, like I said, I like, if I can, I like to give an armpit line like that. It helps sell to me in my brain the movement. And he makes them, I want them thicker though, right? So I think part of the problem here too is if we're trying to like make her more sexy still, this is still like we didn't accentuate the hip, the waist as much as he does. So before we go any further, maybe I need to reassess this and really fake it to like a stupid degree. Yeah. Again, going the opposite of what my brain tells me to do, basically. So really push that curve, and then maybe we'll do the same here. Like the weird female superhero proportions. I don't like that. So what if we break that a little bit? Because we've done similar like with this, where the hip kind of breaks with a strong line instead of just the flowing of the curve. So what if we kind of give that one hard line? And then the arm, like we said, is nothing crazy, just simplified there. And then it's a fist kind of coming at us, right? So we're breaking into that hip now, so I don't want... Maybe we block it in like there. Probably, I don't know, we'll look back at that. So now the bigger part, the Yabos part that I struggle with, right, is the chest. So how do I simplify the chest but make them like curvy and big? So you wouldn't really even see much of this one, right? But this one would be quite standing out, right? Are we doing like Phil's way of like just like skin suits, like spandexy things? We'll do that just because it's easier. So if we're gonna show like where her outfit actually is, then let's say it's just like this then, right? Her crotch region needs addressing because something's wrong with it there. Again, I tried too hard to accentuate the big curve, and I feel like what happens then is we lost sight of the anatomy of the groin then, right? So there we go. We don't really need too much there. But okay, so I talked about before doing how it's like a onesie, so or like a one piece. So we'll do that for her outfit here. Just do like the basic like sports bra energy, right? And let's do, they always have like a cutout, right? So like a cutout right in the middle. Little belly button. Just to get space. Again, I don't really want to focus on the face right now. That's not even really the goal of what we were trying to do today. We were just trying to get shapes more curvy, more soft for the female anatomy, right? So I don't really care about the face. We can have like an illusion of a little nose there, and then just a little smirk. Sure. But yes, I understand this hair doesn't really make sense either, and that's okay. Just trying to get these shapes in. So I think, I mean, right off the bat, like I don't really need to, like I said, draw the hand per se, because that's not part of what we're trying to accomplish. So there's a block in, sure. Or not, because that looked really dumb too. But let's see. I cannot draw a hand right now. What the flip? Anyway. I feel like I need to play with the curves even with the hand then, instead of being so hard edged with the hand. So block in a shape for that. That is also softer. Maybe I play this curve. So it's going this way. Again, this is not a hand that I would fully render like this, but just to get the shape and the arm. Good enough. And then same with the feet. We don't really need a lot, but the one thing I had tried to focus on was like not drawing the ankle and not draw, you know, like playing with the curves. It's just all one curve, which there it is, one curve. Oh, I forgot we never addressed this. This calf. Boop, boop. This bad boy. Don't know. Not quite sure what the calf would do. So I feel like that's a very simple way of doing it, but like it works unless we break. I know we said no hard edges. That's still. Does Phil ever have, how does Phil do bent legs? Do we have any instances like this, how does he transition from one to the other? It's not quite the shape we're going for, but again, that's a good example of how he even more so simplifies. Like each thing is just like a bean, right? It's just a bean in its own way. So like this is a bean, right? And then this would be a bean. You really like a lot of art when you break stuff down is the bean shape, right? Because you've got usually some sort of straight and some sort of curve, whether it's an extreme, right? Or not, it's still always kind of just a little bean. And I feel like his exemplifies that pretty well. But yeah, so he does break the leg a little bit. But his stuff still is a nice curve to it. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I didn't sign up for this. So what if I... Oops. So instead of this, so the shin actually then curves in. So if the shin curves in, then this can kind of curve out, right? Maybe? I don't know. Kind of works. Kind of doesn't. That's okay. So again, like I said, this is all just learning anyway, so I didn't expect to do great. I'm just expecting to try and grow. Whoop. A curve for the foot, no ankles. So is that as good as Phil's? No. Do I like it as much as Phil's? No. Does it at least simplify the shape, though, in a way that I feel like I've not been doing much? Yes, it definitely does. So, I mean, to my credit at least, mission successful so far. I wonder, yeah, this curve isn't. Yeah, I like it curved that way more. So it's difficult because the pose I made was not necessarily like one to accentuate certain things. This is a very actiony pose. There's more going on in it. Whereas a lot of his poses are, you know, a little more straightforward. But okay, I think that works for her. What time is it? It is 1:07. So I've got a little bit more time maybe. We can block in one quick one more. Um yeah, so as we've been doing this, crank this down in size. Oh god. That is not what I meant to do, but it is always funny seeing like when you mess with perspective warps and stuff like wow. But no, that's not what we wanted to do. We were just shrinking it down. Boop. And then just oh and then I did it again. Okay, my bad. Uniform. Scale down. Cool. There she goes. Okay, let's do one quick more. And this time I'll do more of like a pose more akin to how Phil does it, a little more pin-uppy in a way. Oops, almost just broke my monitor. Don't mind me. So let's go back to just my sketchy brush and do like pin up nature, right? Where it's like more on the knees or something like that, so we can play with those, the curves of just like, because that's a struggle I had. The problem in question spawned from this stupid piece. I couldn't get the curves of her legs or anything right. So let's do a pose like that. Not like that, but like a bent knee. So let's do, like, shoulders are down a little bit. The curve is going to just be kind of like this, right? Basic curve of the shape. Let's look to the side. Neck. Neck pull down. These shoulders will be up a hair. And this will be down a hair. The chest will be normal, kind of, just like straight on. And then we'll cut in. Ooh, or do I want it the other way then? Because if I cut in here and the hip goes like this, I kind of wanted it to sit like this, like he does, kind of like a difference. So the curve could follow here. So let's change that. Let's do the opposite. Okay, so the shoulders are actually going this way then. So this shoulder will be down a little bit. And this shoulder will be up. Doesn't really work for the chest that I just drew, but it's fine. So this shoulder is just a little up. Nothing too crazy, but just a little. The hand will be coming down, right? Hip, bend, twist. The hair is usually like just to like the fun big ponytail, cartoony kind of nature. The fill bangs. Cockeye little twist in the abs there. We'll have a cut. And this will be like the straight, hips down, be more like I said, on the knee. So then we'll, yeah, so this one's going back, let's say, right? That one's going back, and this one comes towards us a little bit. Yeah. We'll see foot crunched this way, and let's just not even see the other foot. And this arm, what are we doing with these arms? I actually don't know. What to do? So, okay, I'm just trying to think of a workable pose for this. So if that leg is back, this one is supposed to be, this shoulder was down, we established, right? So it can just be kind of like on the leg, right? So the elbow would be like around here. This one is up. It can just be, it'll just be like one of those where her hand's actually then off screen, kind of, if you will, off from our perspective, and then just like a little bit of her hand touching the hip, right? Fold back. Okay. So again, I'm not 100% on the logistics of this pose, but it's something. It's fine. And then there's the yabos, right? So we block in like a basic kind of seducty kind of pose, okay? And now the whole goal today was simplify these into really basic curves, right? So that was the main goal. So how do we do that? I was blocking in a little bit of a shape of the face. Mobby. Whoops. Getting distracted. There's a really wide eye. It's fine. I don't know why I'm even drawing it. Doesn't matter. So now if we break down this into curves, right? So how do we mess with this and not make it overly anatomical like my brain wants me to? Like already I'm like, okay, if this is where the shoulder is, this is how this would connect to the trapezius back here. The collarbone would connect up here. Let me like solve all of these things, right? My brain wants to solve everything, but like I don't need to solve everything. I need to just simplify everything. But my brain has a hard time. So let's put in some detail for the first moment to appease my lizard brain of detail. And then we can break it down. And kind of guiding. I didn't understand where this hand was either, but now that hand can go there. And this hand, like I said, we'll just see like a little bit of fingertips, nothing more than that. Just the tip. But okay. So if she would be kind of twisted this way, her belly button would be down here, her groin, this part's coming towards us, so this actually would be up. Of the knee comes in, and then the curve. Let's just not even like the feet can just be gone. Okay, I don't need to draw feet. That's not in today's agenda. I don't really care. The foot is just kind of doesn't really make sense that the foot would be gone though. The foot would be, at least one of the feet would be there, because this one we can get away with by putting like an illusion of the foot back here, right? And it's just kind of back there. But this one though, I don't feel like solving. I didn't plan on doing. I just wanted to draw curves. I didn't feel like resolving an issue of a body. So let me repose this one then. What if we make it where the leg is coming towards us, but it is still receding? So the leg comes toward us down here. And then it's doing the same thing though, okay? So we can kind of see both feet like that, right? Sure. That at least solves the thing. So this wouldn't be as intense because they're both both of the legs are receding a little bit now. Why does it keep going to eraser? It would be kind of more like this, right? Ish. Sure. This looks like a Phil pose, doesn't it? A Philtomato pose. My brain doesn't always go to like sexy pose, but I think I did okay with this. Right? That looks like a thing. The big ponytail. Sure. So simplifying this shape then, right? That's the whole point of me drawing this. Whatever. It looks like Ibuki from Street Fighter, actually. So if I draw something like this, how now do I make it curvy without being overly anatomical, right? It's hard because I like my anatomy. I think this looks decent, but that's not, again, the goal of today is to make a break in my brain. And to do that, I need to do what I would normally do. So we've been working on one layer. I think it'll be better in this instance because I did really dark anatomy on this one already. If I just pop it onto a new layer, so I can actually shrink it down a little bit. I did a little too dark, and since everything's on one big old layer, I can't quite do it that way. So boop, gone. So now let's make her a little lighter. And now I'll do some curves. And then I'll go to lunch, right? It's 1:20, so this is almost the end. So again, how do we simplify these curves? The neck into the shoulder, right? The neck into this shoulder. That's a thick neck. Neck into shoulder, a straight into shoulder. Give her a little bit. Nope. Simplify, Britton. So the boobies are just massive because that's just the way I drew it here. I'm trying. And now the curve, though. So the curve of this is like this, right? And then the curve here would be almost the opposite. So we want to like play with that curve, but then go the other way. So it's, right, like a push and pull. So if this is pushing in, this is getting pulled out. And so still trying to just keep everything as simple curves. Even here, let's make all of this curves, right? One big curve. Those feet look funny. We don't need to do that. And so we do, ooh, that's a long piece of underwear. I don't know, something like that. I don't want to make her like super naked though. Follow these. So the arm, do we do the opposite curve or does that look weird? Maybe we follow the curve of that arm. It just also looks weird. What if it's just gone? The arm entirely and the hand is actually here then. Almost like the arm is going like this, right? This arm, however, we can do the, which one would be sticking out? So we've got to do forearm, flat, and then curve. Something like that. Bend. So I'm not feeling this now that I've started drawing it more, but that's fine. We're almost done. It's just to get the vibe. So can we keep up? So this curve ends, but since it is a hard edge here, Can we just keep that curve like this? And then the foot is back here. It's really weird too. Looks like she's wearing like footy pajamas now or something. Like the big old like they're too baggy on her almost. Again, his way of balancing these curves is an art form. I keep overdoing them or not doing them enough. I don't know. Let's do like an illusion of the hand here just because this looks kind of weird with the arm just gone. Unless do we do like a weird like almost like a seductive come hither kind of arm like sticking out. That's a huge hand. Why did I do that? I don't know, man. I'm getting hungry. My ability to draw dwindles the hungrier I get. So normally I don't do a huge, like a thick brush like this. I always do in thin. So maybe that's what's throwing me off too. Like I can't. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. I'm just kind of free balling. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But that's what I kind of expected for my last one, just when I'm hungry. But I think we'll call it there because I'm just gonna get frustrated, and that's usually where I need to call it quits. So is that the best? Nope. But that's okay. So I think we'll call it there. It is basically 1:30. So today, to recap, didn't really chat too much about random stuff like I usually do because I was focused on trying to do something I'm not as good at. But I guess as usual for like thumbnail-y stuff, boobies, right? Yabos. But okay. So today we did a good breakdown of Phil's art style, of how he breaks down curves, how he does a lot of that shape language. It's proven difficult for me to implement into my own methodology and way of thinking, but as usual, it really does help to break down other people's art styles, because then when you're doing things, you don't do it exactly, but you adopt that thought process into your own, right? What's the in Schitt's Creek when they're making, I can't remember what they're making, but it's like fold in the cheese, and they're like, how do I fold in the cheese? How do you what is folding cheese? that's kind of what you do with all of your inspiration, all of your references, all of the things you find. You fold them into yours, right? You're not doing it to be them. You're doing it to fold their knowledge into your knowledge base and kind of build and build and build and build and build and build and build. Um, so I think today we did a good job of building from Phil's shape language and way of, drawing women and the curvature and simplifying shapes and all of that jazz. I'm not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow. I need to stream games. I know that for Thursday. I don't know what I'm going to stream. I wanted to stream Orcs Must Die yesterday. Stuff came up. The game doesn't look as fun as I thought it would be. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't end up doing that. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow, but I will note if I'm not going to be, but I should be on 3:30, at least playing a couple games, doing something. Whether it's just rivals, watching me struggle to even get or hold platinum, or whatever, but we will see you tomorrow and then back on Friday for more art. I will decide Friday what we're going to address. I'm not quite sure because I think I might still want to just keep pushing this kind of stuff, right? Pushing female anatomy. Maybe I'll look up another artist and see how they do it. And maybe it'll be kind of the same vibe where I'll do some studies of how do they simplify the female form and accentuate it. If you've got any ideas, like if you know an artist or someone who, kind of like Phil here or someone like that, who I could learn from, 100%, I want to see it. Let me know. Otherwise, hopefully I find something. But for now, I'm starving and I need to go eat lunch. So until next time, be kind and kick butt.